So here we're going to continue with the portrait study, guys. We're going to try to achieve likeness, and that's what this is all about, to try to achieve likeness. So I've been doing several of them, check them all out. And so as we continue, we have this model right here, and we're going to try to draw her. I'm using a clicker pencil, some standard good paper, and this clicker pencil is what I'm using to draw the basic lines, because the lines are very thin on this. But and then I'm going to add details with a Staedtler 2B and a 6B pencils. Okay, so here we go. We're going to begin with drawing her. So as you can see, the first thing you want to do is make sure you absorb her image, imagine it on this. So let me see if I'm going to see her. The first thing I want to see is establish the shape, she's like that right there. And I'm going to the broader dimensions. So here we go. Okay, so let's say I begin with this. So if I come right here, and at this point I'm laying down the basic outlines, and you see how she is, the forehead, it's right here. So the first thing you want to do is to establish the broader shapes. You begin with the reference point, and then you build on it. So there you go, and I'm trying to get the basic outer. And at this point, my concentration of focus is on trying to get the tilt of the head and the basic way it's laid out. Okay, so I just shifted over to another pencil, because some of these pencils sometimes give you a hard time. They sometimes have to go back at the wrong time, just like this. It happens. It's all part of it. So here I'm using another pencil. So we're going to go back and judge that distance and continue to work on it, the forehead. And right there I laid out the basic shape, that I want her head to be in, right? And then there is the neck. And she's got this, whatever, this, her dress, okay? And then her hair here is coming down like so. So now at this point, right, I want to make sure that I get these distances correct. So I want to make sure that this, you see this? And from here to here, and these distances are kind of appropriately proportioned. And then you come up here, you make these adjustments, and at this point you're concentrating on the broader details. And we'll get to the likeness in a few, but here we have something like that. And it's okay for you to make it darker here, because you can make the corrections later on. So it's all right for you to do a double line, to go over the lines a couple of times till you get the thing right, and then you can fix it later on. So right now we come back up here, the eyebrow is right there, and it's always looking, imagining. And so at this point I want to make sure that the forehead, right, the distance of the forehead and the eyebrows is what my concentration is. And now we come down here, and if you come down this way, you will be coming to the nose. And here we have the nose right there. And I'm going to, basically I'm just looking at measuring the distances to get that right. And the eye begins there, right there. And she has a little bit of a almond type of eyes, right? So we're going to make sure that we get that. And it begins about here, going up like so. All right. So um, there is what we have right there. Yeah, and it's it's gonna have to be fixed because we have to go back and work on the details. But for now, as you can see, I'm looking at the positions, right? And now I'm gonna make sure the distance here and between the eyes and this is correct. It's very important to get that right, okay? Now we go to the nose, we come down, and it's right here, and it comes down like that, and it comes up like that. And you know, I'm doing this from actually trying to visualize it first and then put it in, okay? Now we have this part, and I'm always judging it, going back and trying to make these corrections, always trying to focus on these aspects of it. The distance of this for the rise up here like this, right? Is that appropriately proportionate to the distance between this and this? Or is that a little bit bigger? Those are my judgments. That's the way I'm thinking right now. That is the... So there you go. Okay, so I'm trying to adjust those to make it more like her. And so it is all about those distances. And so you have the cheek right there. Right, like so, right? And now, once again, very important is for you to measure this distance. And it's a good way for you to do is to try to draw a line like this right through the nose, and it's going to help you to determine the distance, you know, the exact proportionate place where you're going to put the mouth. And it's right about like so. And the upper lip is thinner and the lower lip is fuller. And you need to, and you want to make sure that you might have to extend the lips further out, you know, to measure this. Okay, so there is her. Now we have to look for details as we go now into the nitty-gritty of this whole thing. So now we go into this and we go back and we look again, and you're going to try to make a judgment and see. See, and the eyeball is right about in there. Okay, so there it's coming along, and now we have to go up here. I'm still not happy with the initial drawing, so I'm going to go back and see what it is that's wrong with it. So that's the way you want to think about it. So as I add more detail to this, it gives me a little bit more clearer idea of where the mistakes are. All right, so because at this point we're trying to achieve the likeness, you know. So as you can see, to achieve the likeness, you have to be very careful that these measurements and these tiny little bends are in your drawing. So you see now, you see that little bend in the forehead, and you bring right to her. It's going to start looking like her. So as you can see, that little tiny bend, right? This one right here, and coming down this way. So I'm going to concentrate on that to be able to make sure that it matches this. So that's where that is, and it's kind of coming down like so. Okay, that seems kind of a little bit better. Once again, guys, I want you to, I'm trying to demonstrate the thinking that goes behind doing this, okay? So that's what this is all about, because you can't obviously finish a drawing within 15 minutes of YouTube time. So it's going to take a long, long time for you to get that right, absolutely correct. But this is the process, the thinking behind it. So there you go. So now I see that the eye is even more tilted upward like that. And these details I'm going to come back in part 2. And but at this point I'm trying to lay down as much as I can in the first 15 minutes so we have a good place to attack the likeness. So as you can see, right, once again my judgments are all about these bigger distances, these, these broader shapes, and the tiny little bends on the outlines, right? Like for example, like that tiny little bend, you see it's coming this way and just a little bit of a bend, just a little, and that makes much difference. It starts to look like her. So those are very important. And here you go, look, the lip is, you have to imitate those same bends, those detailed little tiny bends that are here in your drawing for you to start making it look like her. That's when the appearance comes out. So here we go. Once again, you see the lip as I'm trying to adjust these outlines, and each time I'm looking at this very carefully. It's very important for you to look back at it and make those little bends, So there you go. That's a little bit better. There you go. Okay. And we have another 3 minutes, so let me just catch up with this. And obviously, as you can see, guys, the errors are all, you see the eyebrow, and I'm going to point out the errors for you so it's very clear. Okay, you see how the eyebrow is up there? This is going up like that. Do you see it? It's going up like that, not like this. So there is a problem here. You're going to have to fix it. I want to show those things to you and the way the artist is thinking, okay? So here we have the upper eyebrow is going up like that. This eyebrow is also going slightly higher. These are what are going to make, and also there is a problem with this because, and I'm going to show you by erasing it. So if I erase it, you will see that what I'm talking about. So when I erase that, right, and if I go back again, you see that this begins here and goes up like that. Okay, and this one is also beginning here and slightly going up like that. So that's how that is. All right, so there you go, and see how we have that now. Come back here. Now, it's a fight at this point to be continuously using your eraser and trying to get this right. In the last 2 minutes that I have left for this first part, guys. And once again, I want to be able to definitely check out all my other videos that I put up. And I'm going to be doing a lot of these markers, watercolors, and everything else. Subscribe to my channel. And stay tuned for part 2. I'm going to finish this in part 2 as much as I possibly can, but I want to see how the process works. So there it is. And now we have to work with the cheekbones, and you have to get this part right, and then adjust the chin a little bit, and then we are about right there. Okay, so as you can see with the last minute that I have, the chin, the eyebrow, these are the adjustments that's going to start working and to make it look like her. So I'm going to see you in the next part, guys. So have a great day. Tune in for part 2.